morning, guys. That's right. So President Trump will be back in office in less than 2 weeks, and he is expected to meet with Senate Republicans tomorrow in Washington to work out the party's reconciliation strategy and discuss getting his MAGA agenda through.
I favor one bill. I also want to get everything passed. And, there are some people that don't necessarily agree with it. So I'm open to that also. My preference is one big, beautiful bill. Order is going to be secure. We're going to start it immediately. Tom Homan is central casting. He's going to do a great job. And that whole group is going to be fantastic.
And the incoming president's cabinet picks are also hard at work trying to shore up support ahead of their confirmation hearings, which kick off next week. So today, Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence, is set to meet with Senator Mark Warner. Now, he is the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Meanwhile, the incoming president is also doubling down on his goal to buy Greenland, saying in part, quote, "I'm hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes part of our nation. Make Greenland great again." Today, Donald Trump Jr. is heading to Greenland, but a source tells me he will not be meeting with any government officials or political figures. He's traveling in his personal capacity there. So President Trump has said owning Greenland is an absolute necessity.
Looks like we are getting a McDonald's.
A McDonald's and a Texas Roadhouse and a Wawa and a Buc-ee's and a Golden Corral. Come on, baby, let's freaking go. And it'll all be located inside of a Walmart. You're going to love it. You're going to freaking love it. No Costco, because they're woke. No Costco, okay? There's we will ban Costco's from going to Greenland. Costco refuses to get rid of their DEI programs, okay? So we're just going to lay that out there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show, now completely and totally confirmed through all available data as the single fastest growing streaming news show in the world. You are in the right spot. If you are looking to hear from President Trump live today, that is what we're going to cover. Donald Trump will have a live press conference at Mar-a-Lago. This is the first time President Trump has been on camera since Kamala Harris certified her L yesterday, live on this program. Also record viewership, and we just want to say thank you. We're starting the year off with a pep in our step and with joy in our hearts. Actual joy, not the kind of Kamala Harris joy that's like found at the bottom of a box of wine. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, the fresh, beautiful new year of our Lord. Donald Trump will be live during our show, and we'll go to it as soon as the president starts speaking. Mark Zuckerberg announces sweeping changes at Facebook and Instagram as Dana White, our dear friend, lands a board seat at Meta. This is all very, very good news. Donald Trump Jr. has landed in Greenland and is colonizing, I think would be the right way to say that, the people of Greenland. ALX, what's the proper term for a person from Greenland? A Greenlander? A Grenadier? A green... Greenpeace? Olive Garden? You'll get an Olive Garden, okay? Think about it, Greenland. Greenland! You'll get an Olive Garden. You can get a tour of Italy without even having to go to Italy. Think about it, Greenland. It's a never-ending breadsticks. You ever heard of it? Freaking soup. You can get nonstop soup and salad and breadsticks. Greenland, you'll never be hungry again. All right, so much fun. Today, Corey Lewandowski will be joining the program. Oh, yeah, and we got a lot of special surprises for you. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Make sure that you are locked in the new year. It's going to be absolutely wild. Have you seen what's happening in the stock market? Talking about a pretty rough losing streak, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be very interesting ups and downs inside of the economy. I got to tell you, right now is certainly a time where I need you to be smart about your finances. You got to make sure, part of the reason why they're going to Greenland right now is there's a lot of natural resources there. Got to make sure that you are locked in the new year. There's going to be some really exciting changes in the world. Here's what's really crazy. Every single day, Americans are nervously watching their 401ks And with the amount of debt and the amount of financial mismanagement that has happened, the Feds are planning on raising rates again. Expect things to be topsy-turvy in the markets. I partnered with one of America's most trusted precious metals company to make sure that you get a free guide to exactly how to protect your wealth during these times. Call 800-900-8000 right now for a free protection kit. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. The powers that be want you to rely on a failing system. Let's show them that we're smarter than that. 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Consult your financial and tax professionals. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are very, very excited about what we are about to see at Mar-a-Lago. We'll put up the live shot for you to kind of show you what's going on. You can see some reporters, making sure that they are prepared for Trump. Hopefully there's somebody playing the piano during this actual press conference. That would be really special. If somebody is just playing Piano Man from Billy Joel. What else do we want? Oh, Phantom of the Opera is a Donald Trump favorite. Maybe someone could. Is there a piano version of YMCA that Donald Trump can come out to? Ding, 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 ding. Would be awesome. There's the shot. It's live. And the president, of course, hasn't been on camera since the certification of his election victory yesterday. We were live for it, and we were very excited about it. We got a couple memes for you because we just want to relive this moment. This moment was so incredibly special. We're going to bring you right now, just because we can't let it go, and we won't let it go. It's a dog with a bone, right? We're not going to let it go. We're going to bring you right now Kamala Harris certifying President Trump's elections. It happened live yesterday at approximately 2:30 in the afternoon. Here we go. Listen to the crowd's roar as Kamala certifies her out. Now, this is a historic moment. I wanted to give you a little fact check, because there's no more fact checkers on Facebook. I want to give you my own fact check here, okay? This is the first time in history that a woman of color has certified her election loss. Glass ceiling shattered. Glass floor shattered, actually, for Kamala Harris. Certainly the glass that was holding Kamala Harris's double of lukewarm Chardonnay got shattered on the floor yesterday. Here we go, the moment that everyone talked about from yesterday.
For President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris.
Kamala gets mugged to her face. Come on, let's do it. Kamala mugged to her face. Oh, it's just
Kamala
glorious.
D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
Yay! I didn't want to talk yesterday because we were broadcasting it live, so I didn't want to talk over it. But there's nothing more there's
The whole number of electors appointed to vote.
Hold on, we're going to stop this for a second. There is nothing more iconic in this current moment, and there's nothing that more perfectly crystallizes the time that we are living in than a bunch of lobotomized Democrat clapping seals getting up and going like this when Kamala Harris certifies her landslide loss. This is a very simple Jack style moves here. So Kamala Harris just said, I lost in a landslide. I lost every swing state. I lost the popular vote. I lost by millions and millions of votes across the country, and I got blown out. Normally it's Kamala Harris doing the blowing out. Now it's Kamala getting blown out by Donald Trump in the Electoral College by like 100 votes. Kamala just announced that live, and all Democrats stood up and clapped for her. Is there a cognitive disconnect here? Like, you shouldn't be clapping for that, actually. You should say, yikes, okay, not good. But Democrats cannot think for themselves. The hive mind has fully infected the NPC bodies of all the Democrat members of Congress, and so they stood up and clapped. They clapped for Kamala's loss. Is that like actually more of an insult? It's more of an insult. We have some very interesting data here, ladies and gentlemen, about, you'll notice that the camera zoomed out here while the Republicans were clapping. But it shouldn't have zoomed out because what was actually happening on stage was quite remarkable. Here, we have exclusive video of it.
Verify the certificates and count the votes of the electors of the several states for President and Vice President of the United States.
Okay, all right, hold on. This is Kamala Harris holding a bottle of Tito's. Kamala, can you see it? Can you see it? Ladies and gentlemen, people were celebrating in the bar. It wasn't just Kamala Harris that was drinking. The shot of this moment from inside of our studio.
Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
I think this is the right one. Okay, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, not just Kamala Harris drinking, not just the people inside of our studio drinking, but potentially all of Congress. Again, exclusive video from this program.
Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
Oh, just let it ride. Come on, it's just too beautiful. It's too beautiful. Some of the people who were eagle-eyed yesterday, noticing a couple of things here. I think this is the clip of Mike Johnson looking at his watch because he can't stand talking to Kamala Harris. Look at this. This one was found by Jack Posobiec. So Kamala turns in to talk to him. Can't hear what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna mute the clip. But Kamala looks into can you imagine what's unburdened by what has been? And watch Johnson here. Oh my God, how much longer do I have to talk to this lady? The memes from yesterday were incredible, and just one more. I just can't help myself. One more, just one more. Here we go. Look at him staring straight down. I mean, am I becoming a Mike Johnson fan? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. He did ask to come on the show. He did walk up to us tomorrow long ago and ask to come on the show. So, yeah, maybe we'll see. Okay, how about this? Let's see. I have a particular disdain for Republican leaders in Congress. My take is that Republican leaders actually betray us by stabbing us in the back instead of stabbing us in the face. And I almost respect the Democrats who want to stab us in the face, and the Republicans leaders often and regularly stab us in the back. And so I'm very, very non-trusting of Republican establishment leadership in Congress. However, we are living in a different world, man. We are living in a wild and changing world, and we're excited about it. That was a little bit of a recap of what happened yesterday. Look at the face, guys. Just one more. It's just like looking at the Mona Lisa, okay? In this sense, okay? Not that it's stunning, beautiful, or historic, but because you just can't take your eyes off. It's just like, it's profound. Kamala Harris, you can't take your eyes off it because like the pain and the suffering and the internal screaming that's going on in this photo as the Republicans stand up and clap for Donald Trump. Kamala Harris certifying her own L yesterday. Ooh, baby. What a fun and exciting time. Okay, so since we are waiting on President Trump, and we have, again, we'll show you the live shot here. We'll certainly want the last President Trump press conference. This comes as a bitter pill to swallow on our show. The last President Trump press conference wasn't supposed to be a press conference. It was just going to be Donald Trump talking to the CEO of SoftBank, and then Trump turned it into a press conference. We had Tom Homan waiting to come on the show. And so we're like, let's go to Tom Homan. Didn't know Trump was going to do an hour at a press conference. And so now, today, we are locked and loaded and ready to go. And so we're going to obviously make sure that we lock it in and cover all of the interest. I have a feeling that Trump will be in a good mood. Klein, let's jump on down to C Block here. Don Jr. has landed in Greenland. Don Jr. is in Greenland right now. ALX, make sure that we get some of the clips. I'm seeing a lot of clips on social media about this. I want to make sure that we get Trump talking to people in Greenland on speakerphone. This is happening all live right now, so this is some pretty exciting breaking news. America is back. Manifest Destiny is back on the menu, boys. And Greenland, of course, is a place that has some great import and strategic value. A couple of reasons why. One, it's part of the Arctic Circle. They're going to be opening up shipping lanes throughout the Arctic. Having Arctic ports is going to be incredibly important. And Greenland is one of the largest land bodies and land masses in the Arctic. Greenland is packed with natural resources. It's currently owned by like the Danish, which nobody even knows what that is. Like nobody even knows what Denmark is. Most people where I'm from think a Danish is a pastry, and it isn't actually a real place. But it is a real place and used to be significant like a couple hundred years ago. The Danish have sold America property and provinces before, including but not limited to the U.S. Virgin Islands, which happened just a couple of years ago, where the Danish king was selling off Danish colonial property. Denmark is a nightmare of a nation that has allowed like unlimited immigration, and Copenhagen is one of the most dangerous, scary cities on earth. They have a real bad problem there, and the entire nation of Greenland is effectively supported by the Danish king who can barely afford, their own social welfare programs back in Europe. And so it's just a European catastrophe. Greenland is in our hemisphere. There's absolutely total historic precedent for purchasing of land and property by the American empire. In fact, there's a single American empire for one reason: America doing deals. That's how we got Alaska and Hawaii and the Louisiana Purchase and Florida. Where I currently am was a deal with Spain. Where I currently am was the first American deal. I'm currently broadcasting to you from Spanish territory in Florida when the Continental Congress actually decided to do their first acquisition, pay for the state of Florida, right after the Revolutionary War. Most of America was not conquered with blood. Most of America was conquered with deals and cash and gold. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be, there's obviously a historic precedent to this. And there is some real strategic precedent. Greenland is packed full of natural resources, military bases, Arctic access. And why wouldn't you want to be part of the great American empire if you currently live in Greenland? So that's my take on it. You could also technically put up a new winter White House in Greenland. It could look like this. I mean, think about it. The future of Greenland could be incredible. Can you go to ALX's Twitter? Can you go to ALX's Twitter feed, please, and get me? Can you get me a sec? ALX had a really good one. Hold on. Where's that photo of Trump? Where's that photo of Trump and? There's a photo of Trump in a. Did you delete it, ALX? There it is. Oh, there you go. That's Come on. The winter White House. It's perfect. It's Greenland. You can think about it. You too could have an Olive Garden. All right? Greenland. Have you ever had stuffed crust pizza? Have you ever tried? Have you ever eaten the pizza crust first? Have you ever tried that? Have you ever sat in a Chuck E. Cheese and heard the sound of the token machine going ding, 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 ding? Okay, taking your kids to Chuck E. Cheese. Think of how sad your children are in Greenland right now without the wall of beef jerky that we have at a Buc-ee's. Okay? Have you ever had unlimited breadsticks, Greenland? You ever had a spicy Chick-fil-A sandwich? It looks cold in Greenland. Here's a video of Trump Force One landing in Greenland right now. This is what's happening. There it is. Trump Force One landing in, I think they're in a place called Nuuk. Is that correct, ALX? Nuuk. So there's Trump Force One rolling into Greenland. On it is Don Jr. and Charlie Kirk. I didn't actually know that Charlie was going to Greenland. Freaking awesome. So there it is, landing. And apparently this is not a diplomatic visit. There are rules. The reason why this is happening is there are rules against like who's able to interact with foreign powers on behalf of the U.S. government. And so this is just a nice to see you visit. There's been some very interesting nice to see you moments. Do we have Donald Trump Jr. in Greenland? Here we go.
Guys, we're here in Nuuk, Greenland.
Nuuk.
This is the founder, 1721. That yellow house with the red top, that was his original spot. That's where he moved. This is where it all started out here. Just incredible scenery. Super cool stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks very cold in Greenland. Producers, what's the temperature? ALX, what's the temperature in Greenland right now? I tell you what could warm you up.
22.
It's 22 degrees. 22 degrees. Okay, so it's cold here in Florida. It's not 22 degrees. I think it's cold. Here's what could warm you up. Look at this. Okay, think about this. Think about what your future could be, Greenland. Here you go. You could be part of Project 2025. Consider the first igloo McDonald's with polar bears outside, with the beautiful northern lights and those glowing arches as you step inside and order yourself a piping hot egg McMuffin and hash browns. Come on, Greenland. This could be your future. Anyway, it's very interesting. Here we go. This is the news as it has broken. Donald Trump here on social. Let's jump over to Donald Trump on the Greenland visit too, please. Oh no, President Trump on Truth Social. Let's hear what President Trump has to say about it, and then we'll jump into some more sights and sounds from this visit. I think it's awesome. It's a very special moment in American history. Let's make sure that we get the corresponding video here loaded up. I'm hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. My son Don Jr. and various representatives will be traveling there to visit some of the more magnificent sights. Greenland is an incredible place, and people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes part of our nation. We will protect it and cherish it from a very vicious outside world. Make Greenland great again. Mirroring the commentary that President Trump has made on Canada, Donald Trump has said that Canada is also a place that he wants to make American territory. Why not? And when Justin Trudeau resigned yesterday, Donald Trump immediately followed up with that Canada, most people in Canada want to be part of the United States of America. Your taxes would go down. The cost and expense to protect and defend yourself would go down. Your industries would flourish. And why the hell not? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the same message to Greenland. Here's the corresponding video that the president posted of somebody, a native of Greenland, wearing a MAGA hat. Let's go.
Like, if you could tell Trump anything, what would it be?
Buy us.
Buy Greenland?
Buy Greenland.
Why do you want Trump to buy Greenland?
Because we don't want to be colonized by Danish government anymore. We get ripped every year about our minerals from Greenland. We are the richest nation in the world, and we don't get to use it. Denmark's using us too much.
Do you like America?
I love America, but people are too fun over there.
Don't know what he said. They're too fun. I think he said people are too fun over there. Well, you're right. You're right, son. Damn right, pal. That guy is a unit, and he should be made rich and safe and happy. Look at the face. Look at this man's face. Do you think this man has ever had a tour of Italy at Olive Garden? Has this man ever eaten stuffed crust pizza? Again, the wonders that America could bring to you. Sir, have you ever sat down at a Texas Roadhouse on a cold night and had a piping hot plate of Texas Roadhouse rolls with apple cinnamon butter brought to you at your table? That is the happiest this man will ever be in his life. Okay? When the apple cinnamon butter rolls hit the table at the new Greenland, Texas Roadhouse. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump is live. Let's go.
And chairman of DMAC Properties, Hussein Sejwani, very respected gentleman. And I'm thrilled to announce today that DMAC will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. It's a great thing, and I believe he will say that he's doing it because of the fact that he was very inspired by the election. They wouldn't do it without that election. I can tell you a lot of people wouldn't. You saw last week where we have somebody who's going to go from 100 to 200 billion dollars, and we have many other people, and we'll be bringing some of them out. Some of them like to do it somewhat more quietly, and some don't, and they feel so strongly about the country that they want to let people know about it. But it's an honor to have such a great investor investing in our country. The investment will support massive new data centers across the Midwest, the Sun Belt area, and also to keep America on the cutting edge of technology and artificial intelligence. He's very big into the data centers, and that's going to be a very hot item in the coming years, as you know, with AI. In particular, the first phase of the project will be in Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, those places. And Hussein, I'd love you to come up and say a few words. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been amazing news for me and my family when he was elected in November. We've been waiting 4 years to increase our investments in U.S. to a very large amount of money. We are a company operating in more than 20 countries around the world. We have delivered more than 45,000 luxury units and another 45,000 in the pipeline. In data center, we are in 10 countries around the world, in Asia, Europe, and Middle East. And we're very, very excited now with his leadership and his open strategy and policy to encourage businesses to come to U.S. For the last 4 years, we've been waiting for this moment. And we're planning to invest $20 billion and even more than that if the opportunity in the market allow us. But at the moment, we're planning $20 billion in data center, catering for the AI and cloud business for the hyperscalers.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr.
Great
President.
honor. Thank you very much. So nice. And that man knows what he's doing. He knows. So, Hussein, we're going to work with you and make sure everything goes smoothly. We have powers that haven't really been used in terms of environmental. If you invest over $1 billion in the United States, we're going to give expedited reviews to everybody because everyone's afraid they're going to come in and get caught in the quagmire, which is very prevalent in the United States, unfortunately, the quagmire of environmental and various other regulations and rules. And I made it a point of telling people if you invest $1 billion or more, and we'll do this for people with far less too, but we guarantee it. We're going to move them quickly through the environmental process. Sometimes people held up 12, 13, 14, 15 years. I saw it with plants in Louisiana where I got it approved in literally a week. They were through the review in 1 week after spending 14 and a half years trying to get it, and they were going nowhere. It was a terrible thing. So I've been a victim of that myself over the years. And I think I know all the games and all the tricks that are played. And much of it is just done to stop progress. So we're going to be helping you and everybody else that comes to the United States and wants to invest their money, that you don't get tied up for the rest of your life and you can't do anything. This commitment further underscores that many of the greatest business leaders on earth are seeing a very bright economic future for America since the election. As you know, a lot of positive things have happened. We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. And I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration's attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people, millions. And they're still counting in some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations, and the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to a very low level, and that's going to bring everything else down. That's what caused it to go up, along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New scam. All this money, trillions of dollars. It's like throwing it right out the window, what they're doing. And they're trying to spend so much now. They're just taking money and giving it to anybody that wants it for any project at all, if it's certified under the Green New scam. And they don't work, and it's too expensive. And, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years, probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten by a Republican, by far, actually, by a lot. And, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work. But even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They have their friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. So many. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones. And the press made such a big deal out of them, but we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything. And the people saw that. When they vote when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions and wins all 7 of the swing states, people said, well, he could win 4. We won all 7, and we won them by a lot. That tells you we won. And they've been watching this injustice. I call it the Injustice Department. What they've done is so bad. The whole world has watched that. And it took work, but it got me a lot of votes because when explained, we have a judge in New York who's a very crooked judge. I'm under a gag order. I can't even talk about aspects of the case that are the most vital aspects. I'm under a gag. Do you know that I'm the president-elect of the United States of America? I'm a former very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had borders that were sealed and beautiful. Everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with Russia and Ukraine, with Israel. You took a look at that attack on October 7th, the attack on Israel, with the horrible way they got out. Not the fact that they got out. I would have been out before them, but we would have been out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength as opposed to looking like a bunch of fools with 13 dead and many, many badly, horrifically injured. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs. Nobody ever talks about them. The way they got out was outrageous, leaving billions of dollars of brand new military equipment that I bought in the hands of the Afghans and specifically the Taliban. It's the group. And we were doing very well. We would have been out. We would have been respected. I think it's one of the reasons it was so badly handled, that withdrawal where people are jumping onto airplanes, falling off the sides of airplanes when they're 3,000 feet in the air. And nobody's ever seen anything like that, the worst. And because of that, I think Russia went and attacked Ukraine. When they saw that, they said, these guys are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. But we know what we're doing now. And that's going to all end. And we have a great military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We were in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers. They would have been gobbled up with 2 armies. We had one army, 300,000. We had another one, 500,000 or 600,000, getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well. and I took them out. And you know what happened? Nothing. I got criticized. I saved 5,000 lives, actually. And we did a great job, and we're going to do an even better job because now we have a tremendous amount of experience. We have people that I can rely on. But the 625 million acres, people can't realize it's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean. And that's our strength, you know. People can say we manufacture, we don't manufacture. The thing we have oil and gas more than anybody in the world. We're going to have more of it too. But they took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts, but if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky. They go in and they sign. Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you, because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed, lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was all to influence the election. It was all a fight against a political opponent. We've never had that in this country. We have had that in certain countries. We've had that in third-tier countries. We've had that in banana republics, but we've never had that in a place like the United States. I don't even know if it's been on a small level. I'm sure it has been on a small level, but this was the largest level ever. They brought this moron out of The Hague. He's a mean guy. He's a mean, nasty guy. His picture was perfect because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute people because he'll execute everybody. He's a nut job. But we won all of those cases with him. And I mean, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant judge in Florida that saw right through it. And we won the case. She was a brilliant judge with great courage. You know, the left, as we call them, the radical left, they have a way, they play the ref, and they play it very hard. They play the ref. They go and say horrible things about judges and prosecutors. And some judges and prosecutors say, look, the only way I'm going to get these people off my back is to give victory to them. They're playing the ref. I think it's illegal what they do. It's almost like talking. It's worse than talking to a judge. But the judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her. And never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant. And her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal. So that's what we're up against. So they say we're going to have a smooth transition. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition. And then they take 625 million acres and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon. We're going to be opening up Anwar. We're going to be doing all sorts of things that nobody ever thought was even possible. But remember and just to get off the subject, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it yesterday. I couldn't believe the size of it. I mean, you put down a map and put this up. It's just massive. And remember that that's worth probably, I mean, I've had estimates, $40 to $50 trillion. That's more than our national debt. Essentially, he's thrown it away. He's thrown it away. He's taken $50 trillion. So if we owe $35 trillion, he's taken $50 trillion of value and thrown it right out the window. We can't do that. Nobody can do that. One other thing he did yesterday, which was in many ways worse. It's hard to believe it can be worse. He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way. This guy loves electric. And we don't have enough electricity. And then we have AI where we need more. And he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful. They're much cheaper to operate. They're much better. They work much better. They look much better. 60% of homes and apartments have gas heaters. He wants them all removed quickly. These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. It comes down from heaven. And they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands. They want to go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. Makes no difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas. We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it. But these are all things. They want very, very little water to go into your dishwasher, almost none. And you know what people do? They just keep pressing, keep it going. They end up using more water. Likewise, washing machines. They want in your washing machine to have very little water coming out of the washing machine. So when you wash your clothing, you have to wash it 4 times instead of once. You end up using more water. We're a party of common sense, and things that I'm telling you now is really all about common sense. On January 20th, we'll turn the economy around very quickly, because right now when I think of our economy, I think about inflation. That's what we have. We have inflation, I believe, at a level that we never had before. There's never been anything like it. And over the next 4 years, the United States is going to take off like a rocket ship. But really, it's already doing it. If you take a look, just last month, SoftBank announced the $200 billion. I think it'll be 200. He said between 100, and I said, how about making it 200? And he sort of said yes, but let's say it's 100, but it might be 200, right, Brian? Dollars, United States, creating more than 100,000 jobs. Hussein just announced a tremendous investment that he's going to make, and that's money that's in the bank. He's going to come and do it, and he'll do a great job, and he'll build the best centers in the country, I guarantee, because I know the way he builds. Since my election, the stock market has set records. The S&P 500 index has broken above 6,000 points for the first time ever, never even close. In a single month, small business optimism soared 41 points. It's not a 41. It went up 41 points. And that's the largest in the 39-year history of the group that does it. According to Gallup, the American people's confidence in the economy has just surged to the highest level in history. That's why I have a news conference like that. I take the greatest business leaders in the world. I say, hey, do you want to say you're going to invest the money? They're not looking for news conferences. They're saying, what am I doing here? They go in and they invest money, but it's good to know where the smartest business people in the world are investing, and they're investing in the United States. So we've done this all in 2 months of not being there. You know, we haven't been there. And it's pretty amazing. And we think we're going to do some really great things, really great things. We're being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. You know, it's the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they've morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president. Of course, she shouldn't have either, because that never happened. I had to be 2 people, not 1. But they want $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China and makes a lot of money, China. One of the most profitable structures ever built, because you have ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through, and the numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship. And they took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've charged us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need repair money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over. Working with the Republican majorities in Congress, will cut taxes, slash regulations, raise wages, and boost incomes at a pace the world has not seen before, and certainly not from our country. We had a big chunk of it for the first 3 years prior to COVID coming in my administration. We had the greatest economy in history. We cut the most regulations in the history of our country, and I did that all in 4 years, by 4 times more than any other president cut. We did that in 4 years, and we were just getting started. We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, "Made in the USA." And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, you know, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too. And the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but you know, they have to, it takes 2 to tango. We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have, number one, Nobody knew that until I came along. I made us number one. We were number three. I made us number one in a very short period of time in drilling. And you know, you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what happens to them, because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. You know, off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories, they have one 70 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season. The windmills are driving the whales crazy, obviously. And they had actually over, I think, 125 or something over a number of years. And we don't want that to happen. It's a disaster. It's amazing the way a true environmentalist would say, oh, we love wind. It sounds good, but that's about where it ends. You know, after 10 years, you have to redo them. And what happens is they don't do that. They let them stand and they rust, and they say, because of the environment, I'm not a believer in this, but they say you can, because it's a certain fiberglass, that the blades cannot be buried in earth, that's an environment. So what do you do with them? What do you do with them? And I don't know if you've ever gone to Palm Springs, California, or any of these places where you have long-term windmills standing. They're a disaster. They're rusting, rotting, closed, falling down. This is as you enter Palm Springs. And they put new ones next to them because nobody wants to take them down, because why should they take them down? It's very expensive to take them down. And you can't do anything with them because the blades, you can't bury them because of the environmental protection. We'll look at that. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they say. So we are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age of business. And I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately, to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do, to take 50 to 60 trillion dollars off our country's balance sheet because some man that has no idea what he's doing, has no idea. You know it, I know it, the Democrats know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. And I'll bet you, if you asked him today, how much acreage did you submit? Essentially, did you destroy? You destroyed the economic viability of drilling in the ocean. And with AI coming along and all, you know, a lot of people don't realize that AI is going to be a big thing, but you'll need double the electricity at least that we have right now. So right now we produce electricity for many, many different things. AI is a very big deal in terms of the future. China is already building electric facilities, big, bold electric facilities. And you know how they're being fired up? With coal. They're being fired up with coal. And we're going to build bigger and better ones. People like Hussein that are doing the same thing as he is. I'll bet they don't do it as well because I know how he does it, but they're doing a lot of things. The problem is they can't get their permits because I say build the plant with the building. So with the structure, build the plant, because if you go into the grids are old. So they said, that's a great idea. In other words, build your electric facility alongside of your plant. And you could have extra output if you want, because once you build it, you can make it larger pretty inexpensively. You could have extra output, which you'll sell to the public, but build it with the plant, and people are loving that idea. So we're going to have a lot of fun making America great again, and it's going to happen, I think, very, very quickly. It's already happened. So I would say this, and this has been pretty openly reported by the news. There's never been anything like what's happened since we won the election. couple of months since we won the election, the whole perception of the whole world is different. People from other countries have called me. They said, thank you. Thank you. The perception of the whole world is different. We're going to have to settle some big problems that are going on right now. We're going to have to settle up with Russia, Ukraine. That's a disaster. I look at numbers every week, the number of people being killed in that war. People don't know, mostly soldiers now. But the towns have been obliterated. This was a Biden fiasco that that should have never happened. If we had a real president, if we had a president that knew what he was doing, Russia would have never, ever gone in. But they did go in, and we have a mess. The cities are all blown up. The people have largely left. And the soldiers are killing each other at levels that haven't been seen since the Second World War. So we'll have to get that one straightened out, too. That's a tough one. Much tougher than it would have been before it started, I can tell you that. The deal could have been made just by an average deal maker. Deal could have been made on that. So thank you all for coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold the vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that. Probably the most expensive. They say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages. Those two things.
Follow up on Ukraine and Iran, the two negotiations you'll be heading into. On Ukraine, you said just before it's a lot more complicated now.
Much more complicated.
Do you believe?
Because it would have never started.
Right, but it has started.
Well, not only started, the cities are largely knocked down.
So you've got what you've got. At this point, to hold on to leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
Well, I wouldn't tell you if that were the
would
case.
You make a commitment to provide a security guarantee if they do enter into an armistice or a ceasefire along the lines that the French and the Germans?
So, a big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that. That's been written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal and then Biden broke it. They had a deal which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO. And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. Years ago when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said, they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, saying that if it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now, because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills. So in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right? Why are we in for billions and billions of dollars more money than Europe? And you know, they're a similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And they all, one stood up. I won't say who, you'll probably have it, because the papers, the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister stood up from a country, you know, a famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up, he says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%. But at that point it was 2%, but many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything, but many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%. Well, I think NATO should have 5%, yeah. Well, you can't do it at 2%. I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, you know, they're in dangerous territory. I think it should be, they can all afford it, but they should be at 5%, not 2%. I'm the one that got them to pay 2%. But a gentleman stood up, a prime minister stood up, and he said to me, sir, could I ask you a question? You're saying we have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills, will the United States protect us from Russia? I said, if you don't pay, you mean you're delinquent? He said, yes. He said, if you're delinquent, we will not protect you. I took a lot of heat. Although it was somewhat closed door, I took a lot of heat from the media. And you know what happened? The money started pouring in. That's why NATO has money. And the Secretary General said it was the most incredible thing he had ever seen in a negotiation. Now, if I would have said, yes, we will, nobody would have paid. If I would have loved to say, yes, we'll protect you even if you don't pay. But that's not the way life works.
Two questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office, you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please. Please.
On Jack Smith's report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. 2 questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the U.S. has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same upon taking over?
Well, I won't tell you that because that's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about? The Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to, because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that yet. And he didn't do it in the past also. He started, and I said, please don't do that. And he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened. Iran was weakened. And he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names. And they went in and they took over. And that's the way it is.
I'm sorry, do you have concerns about HTS taking control of
By the way, I
Syria at this
have
point?
the envoy here. Is that in the back? Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Witkoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a fantastic job. He's a great deal maker. I said, what we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are and where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back. Steve, come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words. I didn't know Steve was going to be here, actually. He's done a fantastic job, and it's a dangerous job too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Hamas
Yeah,
released
just one
another
second,
hostage
please.
video.
I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha, but I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the inaugural, we'll have some good things to announce on behalf of the president. I actually believe that we're working in tandem in a really good way, but it's the president, his reputation, the things that he has said that are driving this negotiation, and so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives. I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. There's no point to be negative in any way. But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there, that's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen? If there's a deal even at all, we've been hearing this now for the better part of.
I know. I would say. They
better be.
Right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will be
Before I
paid,
take
or all hell must be paid if they don't release the
You know what that
hostages.
means, don't you?
Well,
Do I have to define it for you? All
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break out.
telegraph
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old, beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
More than 140 police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, you know, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot. She had never been shot. She was shot for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd, and the crowd was made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, you know, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that. But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun, okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment, a lot of good reasons. But there wasn't one gun that they found. And why didn't they find the bomber, the pipe bomber? You know, they know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far, and the status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice, it's the Department of Injustice, being laughed at all over the world. And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other people that we're putting in, that will all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI, I guarantee I'm at like 90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement, I mean, you think of the FBI, they raided this house. By the way, they could have told me, could I see this? I would have given them, I actually told them, come in anytime you want. You can see anything. They raided the house and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that. And I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president of the United States and I'm suing the United States, but I'm suing them for other things too. The FBI has gone so, its reputation has been so horribly hurt between Comey, who is the worst, and all of the others. What's happened to the FBI is, and we're going to make it great again. We're going to make the FBI great again. We're going to make the Department of Justice fair and strong, but fair again, because all they did was attack me because I'm their political opponent. And that includes with local judges like Marchand. You ought to find out. Ask them, why do I have a gag order where I'm not allowed to speak? Think of it. I'm the president of the United States and I'm not allowed to speak. Why? Because if I did speak, people would understand the scam. It's a scam. And we have very dishonest judges, and New York judges are very bad. We had one that valued this house at $18 million because it was good for their case. He actually valued that chandelier is worth more than $18 million. He valued this house as $18 million. And we have another one who was so nasty, so horrible, such a brute, the most vicious, vile person. These are New York judges. But we've won most of the cases, so we're very happy about that. Please.
Your position is clear, but have you directed your staff to take specific actions to draw plans? And can you elaborate again? You didn't rule out military coercion.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
For acquisition? I mean, are you actively
No, we're not
pursuing-
at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism and a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in Europe. Your reaction to that, is that appropriate for?
You mean where he likes people that tended to be conservative? I don't know the people. I can say Elon's doing a good job, very smart guy. I don't know the people you're talking about. He was, I know he said some negative things about a couple of people that are running for office, but that's not so unusual. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask you about Ukraine and Putin. How soon do you anticipate going to meet with Putin to discuss the Ukraine situation?
Well, I can't tell you that, but I know that Putin would like to meet. I don't think it's appropriate that I meet until after the 20th, which I hate because, every day people are being, many young people are being killed, soldiers. The land is very flat. And hundreds of thousands of soldiers from many hundreds of thousands from each side are dead. And they're laying in fields all over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great. It's farmland. And it's very, very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets.
Within the
I hope
first
so.
3 to 6 months?
I hope to have 6 months. No, I hope long before 6 months. Look, Russia's losing a lot of young people, and so is Ukraine. And it should have never been started. That's a war that should have never happened. I guarantee you, if I were president, that war would have never happened.
Who would you like to nominate to replace Michael Barr as vice chair of the board?
I'll be announcing someplace.
Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada the 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't care.
You had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
Sir, real fast, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. They make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope. No right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either. Brian, go ahead.
Yes. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you.
We have some breaking news. You may not be aware of this, but it looks like Canada has blocked the DOJ from releasing the Smith's report until further court proceedings. Get your thoughts on that.
That's a big story.
Yeah.
So if I get it right, the fake witch hunt started by the DOJ having to do with books and records, and Biden had many more, and he wasn't protected by the Presidential Records Act. I was. But all of that fake stuff that took the lives of people, I mean, literally destroyed people. People are destroyed because of what they did. Destroyed. But we got to be president. But Biden did it for 40 years. He did it when he was a senator. That was illegal. And they ruled it was illegal. How about that? They said, it's illegal, but he's unfit to stand trial. So he can stand and be president of the United States, but the prosecutor found that he's unfit for trial. I was going to use that as a major talking point, but I never got to use it because all of a sudden I had a new candidate who was also sort of unfit to stand trial, right? But so what you're saying is that the judge just blocked the, so Cannon was thrown off the case. They dropped their appeal because he had no case. They dropped all of that, the lawsuits against us. They lost the lawsuit. So this is deranged Jack Smith. So he dropped the lawsuits. He was told to by the DOJ because they had no lawsuit. They lost in court in front of a very strong and a very brilliant judge. They lost in court, and that pertained to other cases in other courts. So he wanted to do a report just before I take office, probably. So he'll do like a 500-page report, and it'll be a fake report, just like the investigation was a fake investigation. And I said, well, wait a minute. This guy was thrown off in disgrace. In disgrace. He's going back to The Hague or wherever they're going to send him in disgrace because he failed so badly, because it was a fake case against a political opponent. They thought they were going to use this to beat me. So what you're saying is I'm just hearing that they're not allowed to issue the report. So if they're not allowed to issue the report, that's the way it should be, because he was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report? It'll only be a fake report. That's great news. Yeah. Good.
And if I can just follow real quickly, you want to comment, many Americans are angry that we're sending millions of dollars every month to the Taliban. Do you anticipate?
It's not even believable. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions. We pay billions of dollars to essentially the Taliban, Afghanistan. And that's given by Biden. That's the same man that took away $50 to $60 trillion worth of value from the United States. They could probably our most valuable asset. Took away our most valuable asset. This can't be allowed to happen. We are now a nation of common sense. When he does that, 625 million acres, this can't be allowed to happen. Thank you for the information. Most other people probably knew about it, but they wouldn't have told me, right?
Mr. President, on the campaign trail, you vowed to bring down the prices at grocery stores very fast.
Yeah, we won't
But
do it
then you
fast.
recently told Time Magazine that bringing down prices would be very hard. So what can the American people expect when you get into office?
It's always
When
hard to
can they
bring
go
down
the
prices when
grocery
somebody
store?
else has screwed something up like they did, but we'll bring them down. We'll get them down. Energy is going to bring down prices. We're going to have a lot of energy, and energy is what brought it up. Energy and their bad spending is what brought it up, and energy is going to bring it down. We're going to have prices down. I think you're going to see some pretty drastic price reductions. As an example, food, bacon, ham, apples, everything has gone through the roof. It's one of the reasons I won. So as you know, I said it, inflation was one of the reasons I won, but I think the biggest reason I won was the fact that they are allowing prisoners to come into our country. They released their prisoners, their murderers. Thousands of murderers are now walking around the streets of our cities and farmland all over. Murders, people that have killed. Many, 32% have killed more than one person. They released them from their jails, their prisons, and their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. I believe that's the reason we got such a large vote. All right, maybe one or two more questions. Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead, you go. You have it.
Can you, President Carter is laying in state today in Washington. You had some harsh words for him about the Panama Canal. Is there any disconnect there? Do you feel a little bit bad about doing that on this day?
No, I liked him as a man. I disagreed with his policy. So, hey, he thought giving away the Panama Canal was a good thing. I think it cost him the election. That and the hostages. I actually think that was a bigger factor because that's a deal that just should not have been made. But again, this was a question that was asked of me. I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring up the Panama Canal because of Jimmy Carter's death. But people don't bring it up. But you and other people have asked me about it. No, it's a deal that I was very strongly against. I was a young guy when this took place, but just why would we spend all of that money, lose 38,000 people to malaria, the mosquito? They were dying. It was horrible what was happening. They paid them 4 times more than they would make in the United States, but they knew they were going to go over there and die. And they died in the jungles of malaria. There was nothing we could do to stop it. 38,000, and then we gave it away for $1.
About getting your agenda through Congress, you appeared to open the door in your radio interview yesterday for 2 bill approaches. It's still your preference for one big, beautiful bill, as you have said.
Well, I like one big, beautiful bill, and I always have, I always will. But if 2 is more certain, it does go a little bit quicker because you can do the immigration stuff early. Now, you have to understand, for immigration and for the wall, we won the case on the wall. They tried to sell the wall for 5 cents on the dollar, by the way. And we had, fortunately, a judge that stopped that. But they were already discarding the wall. And 5 cents on the dollar. And you know what they were doing? They were calling us up and saying, we'll sell it back to you at 200 cents. In other words, double what we paid for it. So they were going to buy it from this guy for 5 cents on the dollar. They were making deals. And fortunately, we had a very smart judge that stopped it cold. I think he called for an investigation too, and he should. But think of it. They were selling the wall that was exactly the wall that the Border Patrol wanted. That was designed by them. Steel, concrete, rebar, exactly as they want. Very, very heavy steel, very powerful steel, hard to cut. Very, very heavy, 7,000-pound concrete, which is a very strong concrete. Everything was top of the line. Very expensive. Would be double what we paid for it then, 6 years ago. But let me just tell you, they were selling it for 5 cents on the dollar to people. And those people were calling us, asking us to pay them 200 cents because it's a good deal because we can have it immediately. And you know what immediately is? Just leave it in place. No, the papers haven't written that, though. That deal is like all the other things that these people do. These people either hate our country or they're very stupid. And I don't believe they're stupid because nobody can cheat on elections like they cheat and be stupid. They either hate our country or they're stupid. So remember what I said because nobody wants to report it. They were selling the wall for 5 cents on the dollar and trying to resell it back to us for 200 cents or less, but for 200 cents on the dollar. That's a nice return.
Announced that it will stop putting fact checks
on a post on its website. And Meta said today it would stop putting fact checks on its website and instead allow community.
Yeah, well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it. Actually, I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past? With these
Probably.
issues?
Yeah, probably.
The last time we were here, you were asked a question about the U.S. possibly launching a preemptive strike on Iran. You said you wouldn't answer that question.
On who?
Obviously, on Iran. The U.S. launching a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities.
And I said I don't talk about it. It's a military strategy.
But it is a legitimate question. It's something that
Well, it's not really, because only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more. Brian, go ahead. Brian.
Could you give us a preview of what you might be talking to leaders of Congress who are expected to come here in the next couple of days? And you've got a very supportive Congress behind you.
Yeah, they're great. So we have a wonderful Republican Congress. We have a leader that I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's going to be hopefully a great leader, a great speaker. And we have a leader, by the way, in the Senate, I think has been great. John Thune has been doing a fantastic job. But it goes through the House first. And the question is whether or not we do the two bills or one bill. And, look, I can live either way. I like the idea of the one big bill, but I can live either way. But they'll be coming down. The senators also will be coming down. And then ultimately we'll be meeting in the White House in a few weeks. But right now, this is the winter season. They sort of call this the winter White House. It was built, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie Meriwether Post and E.F. Hutton built this. It was the greatest of all the estates in our country. And I saved it, and I got a lot of credit for saving it. Most of these big, great houses have been knocked down in Palm Beach, just about all of them, actually. And they, you'd build 10 mansions on one site, but we saved it. But this was built as the Southern White House, and she gave it to the government. And by the way, Jimmy Carter gave it back. He said it's too expensive for the United States. So I didn't realize that.
Real quick, I was just told.
Actually, Jimmy Carter, Nixon was through Watergate. He came down. Nixon came here once, and he thought it was incredible. But he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that. And so he had other things on his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country. So fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
On reconciliation, some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that? And
Well, I'm okay with spending cuts. I like spending cuts. Just I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing, but that was put into our lap and it shouldn't have been, but it was. And so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
Sir, on immigration, how much can you do by executive order? Are you planning to do on executive order when it comes to immigration? And how much do you want Congress to tackle this issue? And also on day one,
Well, I had the
what
safest
executive
border
orders are
in the
you
history of our
planning?
country by far. You remember the famous chart that I brought down. I love that chart very much for a lot of reasons. But I have the safest border by far in the history of our country. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Nothing like it is now. This is 10 times worse. When I got elected because of the border the first time, and I think I got elected largely because of the border the third time. And the second time I did equally well. Well, not as well as the last time, but I did very well. And I will say this was too big to rig. You know the expression? Too big to rig. They couldn't do it. They tried, but they couldn't do it. I didn't get very much from Congress at all. I just said that we're being invaded, and I took the money out of the military. Much of the wall, I built over 500 miles of wall. Much of that wall was built through money that I put into the military. We took it out because we couldn't get things from Congress in those days, and we took it out. And that wall was built largely with money coming from the military. So very simple. I went to the military. I said, our country is being invaded by very similar, nothing like what's invading our country now. They weren't releasing prisons into our country, and they weren't releasing mental institutions in, but some bad dudes were coming in, right? And I said, our country is being invaded. And I took that money largely from the military. I was sued 9 times by the Democrats in Congress, and I won all those suits. And we ended up building 571 miles of wall. Once that wall was built, they start going around it. So we're going to add another 200. That would have been up in 3 weeks. And then we had a very unfortunate election result. And they said, we don't want to put it up. We'll sell it. And they started selling it for 5 cents on the dollar. What a second. So we'll do this again. I just want to thank everybody very much. I'm just telling you, this will be the golden age of America. This is the golden age of America. We're going to have a great country again. We're a country right now under siege. We have so many different problems, and nobody respects us overseas, but now they do. The Italian prime minister, as you know, came here the other night, just flew in and flew out. She wanted to see me. And great respect is being shown when I went to the cathedral in France. Great respect was shown by the prime minister, the president, by everybody. France was, and by the way, I have to say they did a great job in the cathedral. But great respect is being shown to our country again. And we have a great country, but we have to run it properly. It's going to be run properly. We want to get back those hostages for Israel and for us. You know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to break out. Thank you very much.
Ukraine-Russia war before you take office. Can you clarify what you mean by military force in the Panama Canal?
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I mute myself for this because I'm screaming. We're screaming. It's like the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America. Have you ever heard anything so beautiful? Freaking love it. How does the guy do it? It's been just kind of rolling off the top of his head for 90 straight minutes. It's 12:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Donald Trump is like, yeah, let me just take every single question on every topic. Did you see a single note card? Can we stop for a moment and appreciate the fact that Trump was sharp as a freaking piece of broken glass out of an action set, out of a freaking unbelievable timeline that we are living in. Just sounding off on Greenland, Panama, Canada, saying that we can economically take them over and that China cannot have access to Panama, that it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to exert American dominance and superiority over our hemisphere, that everybody's been taking advantage of us for too long, sounding off on the J6 political prisoners and those who were involved in locking up not just innocent Americans, but also the people who didn't get charged. Oh, baby. Ray Epps. Oh, no. What's going on exactly there? Well, Donald Trump saying that there are plenty of people, like the J6 pipe bomber, who just haven't been found or charged yet. Why not? Trump talking about breaking news. We have it here for you that Judge Eileen Cannon has blocked the release of the special counsel report. President Donald Trump cases are now effectively all dead. There's breaking news also out of Fulton County that there's proof of collusion with Fani Willis and the Biden White House. This is now the time where the hunters have become the hunted, something that Mike Davis said yesterday very proudly on our program. We're going to be seeing a moment in time where those who tortured Americans and violated our civil liberties and our freedom of speech and our freedoms that we enjoy here in this country are going to now suffer the consequences. An incredible moment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we need to announce a couple of very important things. One, we are going to be joined in just a moment by Marjorie Taylor Greene 2, we've added brand new emojis to the chat, including but not limited to an Alina Habba emoji and a Kash Patel emoji. So please become a member of the channel, and you'll be able to use our custom emojis. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump announcing that this will be the Gulf of America now. Do we have that clip, Klein? Let's rock and roll, and then we'll get right to the Congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, because I want to ask about this. Here we go. Donald Trump, the Gulf of America.
We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
The Gulf of freaking America, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. If you are, prepared for the great American century, then you should certainly be using American financing right now. A lot of us are trying to get off to 2025 on the right foot. Certainly has been happening for our show. There are some great news for homeowners out there. Interest rates have dropped, are now in the 5s. If you have been burdened by high interest rates or credit card debt, now is time to break free. American Financing can help you cash in on your home and pay off your high interest debt. Last year, their salary-based mortgage consultants were able to help customers save an average of $800 a month. You should call today. Call today, American Financing. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Make sure that you call 888-528-1219 to see how much you can save. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. American Financing, matching the American Gulf of America. Oh, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, somebody who needs no introduction, the great Marjorie Taylor Greene, who will be talking to us about the new great American century that she very much helped usher in the 2024 election, and responding live to President Trump's wild and exceptional news conference. It really is amazing. Well, I feel like I've been abused over the last couple of years. Like, seeing a president who can just talk off the top of his head without any notes for 90 straight minutes about the most complicated topics on earth, man, it's refreshing. Marjorie Taylor Greene joins the program live now. Congresswoman, wow, that was really exciting and fun. The number one takeaway, and there were quite a few, was the Gulf of America. Now, we live actually on what's currently known as the Gulf of Mexico here in Tampa. That would be great to actually call it the Gulf of America. Instead, I fully endorse it. What say you, Congresswoman?
I got to tell you, President's second term as President of the United States is off to such an incredible start, Benny. It's so America first, and we haven't even inaugurated the man. We get him in office officially on January 20th. And I was so fired up watching the press conference today when President Trump said that he's going to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, that I directed my leg staff to immediately draft legislation. And we are entering it right now to officially change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And Congress has to do this because we have to fund the name change in maps. We have to fund the name change through all types of, like the military, FAA, et cetera. And it's absolutely the right thing to do. We change post office names all the time up here. You better bet we are absolutely going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let's go.
Okay. If your staff can print off a copy of whatever you're writing right now, that'd be amazing. You hold it up live on the show. You show everybody, just like if that's possible, if you're listening, MTG congressional staff, hand her a copy of the actual bill. I want to promote it. We're not allowed to co-sign it because we're not members of Congress, but we'll do everything we possibly can to endorse this. It's great. I'm tired of living on the Gulf of Mexico. Here in Florida, and here we're in Tampa. We want to be on the Gulf of America. Okay, it was literally right in my backyard. So this is exciting. Donald Trump Jr. has landed in Greenland. And obviously Trump talking very strongly about Canada and Panama. These are some of the big takeaways and certainly what everybody's chattering about online. You're very close, obviously, with President Trump. How serious is he about turning North America effectively into an American hemisphere?
Oh, he is 100% serious, and I 100% back him. This is one of the most important things we can do from a national security standpoint perspective. It's also one of the number one things we can do to grow our economy and dig our way out of this massive $36 trillion in debt. You see, I'm a business person, Benny, and so are many of your viewers, and so are you. This is not complicated. The way to get ourselves out of debt is two ways. We have to cut the spending that we have going on here in Washington, D.C., but we also have to grow a robust economy and build revenue. Those two things together will dig us out of $36 trillion in debt. But the national security perspective is extremely important. We have China is advancing rapidly around the world and taking over South America, Central America, and diving into Mexico. We also have China digging their greedy little hooks into Canada, and they're already mining for rare earth minerals in Greenland. So this is the smartest thing to do for the President of the United States, to not only protect the American people from an enemy that has said they want to control the world within the next decade, but it's also the best thing to do for our entire country and for our businesses, our economy, and especially our kids' future, Benny, and that's most important.
Yes, obviously. I did want to touch on the question that Donald Trump was asked about January 6th and pardons. January 6th, of course, yesterday in the United States Capitol, a day that Donald Trump took over the federal government and did so literally, and it's glorious. And as somebody who's fought, obviously, tooth and nail, and has been one of the few, I think, like maybe you and Matt Gaetz were the only people that visited J6 political prisoners in jail and actually went to the DC gulag, to your great credit and to the shame of pretty much everybody else in Congress who refused to even acknowledge J6ers. This must come as a glorious piece of news that Donald Trump is going to be issuing thousands of pardons and also investigating some of the people who seemingly weren't charged with the FBI, who were by the FBI, who were behaving quite criminally and in a terroristic manner, like the J6 pipe bomber. I would love to get your commentary on this.
You know, my goodness, this has been such a heartbreaking issue for me for years now. I was one of the first members of Congress to actually go in the jail here in Washington, D.C.
Yes,
back in November of 2021. I think I came on your show after I did that. And ever since then, I have really tried everything I can possibly do to help these families, help these people, and have been completely powerless and mostly alone in this effort. And the only way we can undo it is the way we did it. We won this election with such a massive victory. And President Trump is going to issue pardons, and he's going to commute sentences. He's looking at all the different angles. I mean, I want pardons across the board. I could care less about what they have to say. And it can't come soon enough, but we're almost there. January 20th is almost here. So I'm urging everyone, hang on a little bit longer. And I know it's been a really hard, horrible road, difficult to hang on to, but we really are right around the corner and relief is coming. And so these people deserve it, Benny. They absolutely deserve it. And yesterday on the Hill, I just want to let you know this, the press was coming up and asking me questions about what do you have to say to Capitol police officers that endured fighting and violence? And you know what I said to them? I said, I thank them for their service, but also let's talk about the police officers that endured BLM, Antifa violence every single night during the summer of love and years. What about the police officers that were attacked in President Trump's inauguration in 2017? So we can't look at this thing through a two-tier justice system anymore. President Trump coming into office, Pam Bondi at the DOJ, Kash Patel at the FBI. Come on, Kash, we can't get you here quick enough. We are really going to right the ship and then go after the people that truly abuse power and hold them accountable for what they've done.
What does that look like, going after the people? Because what I often get on this program, Congresswoman, is, you know, we'll see where the case leads us. Well, we've seen what's evidence for an enormous violation of a huge myriad of constitutional rights. There's been many J6ers who've killed themselves because of the stress of knowing that they would face a DC courthouse that's guaranteed to convict them and destroy their lives. And the damage that has been caused to these families is incalculable.
Yeah.
What does justice actually look like? Will Congress actually give criminal referrals for the people who are responsible for this?
I certainly hope so. And I'll start with this. Benny, there's no way to repay these people for what they've been through. People have committed suicide. Matthew Perna committed suicide along with multiple other January 6 defendants awaiting trial. Families have been broken up. Marriages have been dissolved and divorced. Kids have lost years with their parents. There's no way to pay that back. There's no dollar amount for that. Here's some ideas that I have. Matthew Graves, the U.S. attorney at the Department of Justice that used his office to hunt down people, persecute them, and put them in prison, he should be disbarred. We should look at him with possible criminal referrals. I think he's one we should look at. These judges that hold power in Washington, D.C., they have abused and weaponized the power of their benches and used their courtrooms to lock people up that didn't even go in the Capitol. Lock grandmothers up, veterans up. It is outrageous. These people have been put on lists and labeled as terrorists. Like, all of these things have to be undone, but the people that abuse their power, people like members of Congress like Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson, and others on the January 6th committee, we should look hard into what they have done. That's what I'm for. I wanted to see that for the past 2 years as we held power in the House, and we had a January 6th committee through House admin that did a little bit, but I don't think they went far enough in the past 2 years. I want to see more, and now that we're in power, I think that is finally possible. But then again, Benny, I'm only one member of Congress out of 435, and if I had had it my way for the past 4 years, things would be a lot different, and I'm hoping to get to see it more my way going forward.
Good. What'll happen to Liz Cheney next?
Well,
you served with her, right? You must know her. You must know her relatively well. Like, well, what is she guilty of? Like, what do you see the path forward? Trump says that she deserves to be charged and put in prison.
Absolutely. I don't know. Actually, I don't know Liz Cheney well. I'm very proud to say that. She was not someone I wanted to spend any of my time with, even spending conversation with. So no, I don't know her well. But I do know that she needs to be investigated. She should be disbarred as well. And as an attorney, she knows what attorney-client privileges are. And with Cassidy Hutchinson, she absolutely crossed that red line with Stefan Passantino, who was representing Cassidy Hutchinson. And then the committee, Liz Cheney in particular, was about to set Stefan Passantino up so that they could pursue him and go down some horrific witch hunt trail with Stefan Passantino, who's a former President Trump attorney, former White House attorney, and was doing nothing wrong. So these are the types of ways that she abused power. Liz Cheney, of all people, knew better. She knew better, but she did this for political purposes, and she was doing this to take down President Trump himself.
Just moving on to the state of Georgia, your beloved home state that delivered for President Trump this election cycle. Things not going great for Fani Willis. Now we heard last night that there is apparently hard, demonstrable evidence connecting her to the White House and this prosecution of President Trump. This is obviously criminal. Can you give us an update on that? Perhaps you know more than we do right now. What fate awaits Fani Willis?
Well, we had always suspected, knew all along, that she had colluded, her and her lover, Nathan Wade, had colluded with the White House with their case that she built and used as the prosecutor from Atlanta. Shamefully, by the way. Atlanta is one of the cities in America that suffers the worst crime, absolute horrific crime. It's also one of the worst cities in America for child sex trafficking. But Fani Willis didn't go after child sex traffickers, didn't go after criminals that were taking advantage of the residents of the city of Atlanta. Her and her lover, Nathan Wade, actually colluded with Joe Biden's White House to bring this case against President Trump. I have not seen the evidence with my own eyes, so I can't comment further specifically on the evidence, but I look forward to seeing the evidence. And she's another one that is completely involved in politically weaponizing and abusing power. She should be removed from office. We are a Republican-controlled state. My home state of Georgia, we have a Republican governor, Republican lieutenant governor, Republican attorney general, and a Republican-controlled state legislature. Fani Willis should be disbarred and removed from her office if this evidence actually proves her collusion with the White House.
Good. Yes. Finally, some consequences. It'd be very nice to see that, and it'll be very nice to see that in the new Trump golden era that you, again, helped usher in. There's this great photo of you on the phone during the speakership race, the speakership vote, with you calling the new chief of staff of the White House, Susie Wiles. Just wanted to ask, like, one, great action shot. There's plenty of those of you. You yelling at Joe Biden, I'm not sure that you will ever get better than that, but whatever. You doing that phone call, how involved was President Trump in the speakership race? How intricate was this process?
He was very involved, and congratulations to the photographer who captured that. They must have caught that photo literally when Susie answered the phone. Yes, I had a lengthy conversation with her on the House floor as we were going through the speaker's race. Look, everyone knows I went against Mike Johnson and tried to vacate him from the speakership early last year, after he passed a two-part omnibus, reauthorized FISA, warrantless spying on Americans, and gave $61 billion to Ukraine and $9 billion to Hamas and Gaza. Those were red lines for me. But since then, and since we have won the election, I've repaired my relationship with Mike Johnson, and President Trump asked me to support him. He also asked all of us to support him and vote him in as speaker, and no one else was running for speaker, Benny. So you know what I did, Benny? I did what I asked all my colleagues to do. I put down my pride and my ego, and I said, all right, let's get Mike across the line. And so I was working there hard on the House floor to try to get Mike Johnson the votes he needed so we could elect him as President Trump's choice to be Speaker of the House. And now that we've gotten that done, we're ready to move forward. And Benny, I have to tell you, I'm so lucky that I have such good relationships with President Trump. His new chief of staff, Susie Wiles, we're so proud of her. Caroline Levitt, Stephen Miller, and all the others that are going to be working closely with us in Congress to help pass President Trump's agenda.
Okay, so that's a perfect launching point into final question here. What is that agenda? What can we expect to see? We're hearing some rumors of like a MAGA bill that will come out of the House with an enormous slate of agenda items all locked up together. This is kind of what we were hoping to get in the first Trump term when we had unified control of government. Is that happening? Is that being written right now? Or are you helping writing it?
Yeah, we are working on it right now, and thank you for asking me. I am a big supporter of one big beautiful bill, which President Trump calls it. And let me tell you something. I'm going to call out my colleagues, every single Republican I serve with, and every single Republican in the Senate. Guess what? There's no excuses. We all have to get to work, and we better get this done because the American people gave us a mandate on November 5th of 2024. We don't have a choice. And so this is not something that we get to bicker about and have in-party fighting. This isn't something where someone tries to get attention online or get attention out on the steps in front of the Capitol. This is something where we absolutely have to get in a room and put down our own agendas, and we have to work together to fulfill this mandate. And Benny, let me tell you, we can do it. There is no reason why we can't do it unless we get in our own way. And so I'm committed absolutely to helping President Trump get this across the line. I will call out any one of my colleagues that is getting in the way of the American people's mandate, because we have to do it. We have very little time to get it done. It's a matter of national security. It's a matter of economic security. And it's a matter of being successful so that, guess what, Benny? We can win the midterms just a short time from now and keep it going again for 2 more years to finish out President Trump's administration.
Yes. I mean, it would be really great to have less lies out of Congress, like that we're going to do this and actually see the rubber hit the road. And you're exactly right. There is no more friction in Congress against President Trump and against this mandate. You have Mark Zuckerberg coming out today being like, nope, I'm going to unite with President Trump and fight for free speech around the world. This is, I mean, it's a wild and astonishing moment. I wanted to end quickly here with something that quite shocked our audience, which was Mitch McConnell's absence yesterday from the certification of Donald Trump, and also Nancy Pelosi and a walker. I know she had a bad fall. A lot of people saying term limits now for Congress is very popular, and saying that there's just a cast of leadership that is totally and completely out of touch with the American people and are just not cognitively or physically capable of doing this job. Just your takeaway thoughts on that.
I 100% agree. We should have cognitive tests here in Congress. Cognitive tests for people that serve in elected positions, period. I also believe in physical tests. Look, here's the problem. We have so many elderly people holding office here in Washington that their staff actually become their caretakers. You wouldn't believe how many members I serve with that have been here for decades, Benny, and their staff roll them in a wheelchair, help them stand up, hand them all their vote recommendations, basically telling them what to do and how to do their job. And no one voted for their staff. No one voted for that. And the American people are not paying for elder care. That's not what members of Congress are here to do. This isn't an assisted living, but yet the Congress and the Senate has turned into an assisted living for many members of Congress. And I have to tell you, the American people should be outraged. You should be screaming from the rooftops. Enough of this assisted living in Washington. It has to stop. You didn't vote for the staff, Benny. Nobody voted for the staff. You voted for a person to serve you, the American people, your district or your state. And they can't serve you when they're late in age, and we all get there. We will all get there. But for the love of God, let's not all get there when we hold such power and responsibility.
Yeah, so it's a terrible motivation if you are not going to be experiencing the consequences of the policies that you're passing. If you're so old that you won't really be around in the next 10 years, then what motivation do you have actually to pass good laws or to fix the deficit? You don't. It's terrible. It's gerontocracy. The Constitution was ratified by a bunch of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds.
That's right.
Who actually wanted a country to live in, right? And wanted to provide for their family. And so anyway, we pray at this program for everybody to have the same energy that Marjorie Taylor Greene has. You, of course, should follow Marjorie Taylor Greene on social media. One of the best X-cover images online with her and Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump laughing at a golf course. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Marjorie Taylor Greene. Join the 1.4 million people who follow her on X and fight with Marjorie. Godspeed, Congresswoman.
Thank you, Benny.
Ooh, man, that was a heater. Holy smokes. Ladies and gentlemen. So it's like, I apologize because I get into a trance with these Donald Trump. It's like I have to almost reconnect my brain. Like I get into a trance like watching these Donald Trump press conferences. It's like I've been so the last 4 years had almost nearly broke me. Because we go live for these Joe Biden press conferences, these Kamala Harris press conferences, and you're just not used to one, any news breaking, or two, anybody speaking with a connected brainstem. And so it's it's majestic. It's really neat. It's really fun to watch. It's really fun to be a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some very fascinating news that given a normal circumstance would have kicked off the show. It's about what's happening on the largest social media platform on Earth, which is arguably Meta. If you include Instagram and Facebook together, you're talking billions and billions of users. Mark Zuckerberg just made a massive, massive pivot for free speech. We're going to obviously verify that these actions are taken, and these actions will affect the future of the country quite profoundly. We know this because we have multi-millions of followers on both those platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And very much in the dark of night, we were censored within an inch of our lives and could no longer reach our audience. We know, as a matter of fact, that's because of Joe Biden. And that's because of the Biden regime and their illegal censorship of American citizens and the trampling of our constitutional rights. Now, they did that in order to try and win an election. Now that election is lost, Mark Zuckerberg is coming out and saying, we're not going to go that path here at this company. I applaud that decision. I think it's brave. I think it's important. The censorship industrial complex is obviously something we've talked about a lot with Mike Benz on this program. It's something that's affected us in a very negative manner at our show and at our business, and we've had to make major shifts and adjustments in our business. But here comes Mark Zuckerberg. Not only that, but like putting Dana White on his board at Meta. And Dana White is a vigorous and violent defender of free speech. And so this is very good. We consider Dana White a friend and somebody who has been an ally of us in our program. And so we look forward to following these updates. This is very important to us. We stream on Facebook every single day. We love our Facebook audiences. We have millions of subs there. We don't want to ignore those people that use those platforms, but it's just been impossible to reach people over the last couple of years with the boot of censorship on our necks. So these changes are pretty exciting. President Trump responded to this as well during his press conference. I thought their presentation was excellent. Trump says they have come a long way, and then Donald Trump saying that it is in part because he has been meeting with Mark Zuckerberg and instituting these policies. Of course, nobody censored more than President Trump. So Trump is now effectively ushering in a new era of free speech for all of us. Of course, you cannot have this conversation without also thanking Elon Musk, who did it first, right? And did it when there was much more to be lost. Ladies and gentlemen, Zuckerberg has sort of been on a very interesting path to this moment. President Trump was shot. Zuckerberg sort of shocked the world by saying this is the most badass thing he's ever seen. Here we go.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Okay, so what did Zuckerberg do today? So he says that that's the American spirit, getting up and fighting. And then today he announced, listen, there have been a bunch of left-wing mongoloid orcs who've taken over my platforms. I have billions of users on that platforms, and they have used their left-wing power to censor Americans. They have abused it to a political end. I'm going to put a stop to it. I'm going to end entire programs. We're going to have a X-style community notes, but it's not going to affect your scores. Those some type of social credit score in Marxist communist China. We're going to move our moderation teams out of San Francisco into Texas to better reflect the American people and their sensibilities about free speech. That is such a positive. It's probably my favorite thing that he did today. And then also, we are going to allow political speech back on the platform because that's what people want. More importantly, I'm going to go around the world and I'm going to fight with President Trump to stop unconstitutional censorship in this country and then also around the world. Mark Zuckerberg saying that the results of the 2024 election really cemented for him, according to my sources, a path that Zuckerberg's been on for quite a while. Many people tell me that he's libertarian in his own personal beliefs. Again, we'll watch it play out. You gotta verify this stuff. It was horribly detrimental, obviously, to our business, and I'm sure that you have been also censored on these platforms. Facebook and Instagram were the most censorious of all platforms. But I am going to, in a very good mood, and I'm going to accept all this prima facie, and going to watch for the changes. Here's the changes. Mark Zuckerberg out this morning, very much breaking the internet here, and shocking us, certainly, first and foremost. Here we go.
Here's what we're going to do.
First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more.
Do we freaking win? Boys, are we freaking back? Are we back? Mark Zuckerberg's responding to me on Instagram now. You pop that up. Like, it's freaking crazy. I can't believe the timeline that we're in. Now, we are massive fans of Elon Musk, and Elon Musk regularly interacts with us on X, but we've never had a Mark Zuckerberg response on Instagram. But lo and behold, here he is, clapping back at your boy. So what timeline are we living in? Boys, are we actually back? I don't know, man. I said it was very, very important that he posted this because it's going to have a massive chain reaction effect. I mean, you're going to talk like this is going to have a generational chain reaction effect to atomize the censorship industry forever in the country. And so I'm down. Man, I'm freaking down. And then he puts this guy on his Facebook board. This is Dana White. When a Canadian reporter asked him, yo, do you ever censor your fighters? Check out Dana White's response here.
About you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
I'm
free speech. Control what people say. Going to tell people what to believe. Going to tell people... I don't fucking tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want, and they can believe whatever they want.
That guy's now has a seat on the Facebook board saying people it's not only is censorship wrong, but it's immoral that everyone can believe and say whatever they want. Times are changing. And what's the point? The point is that, it's easy to make those changes now that Donald Trump's in charge. I'm saying that it's good that it's happening. You just sit back and celebrate that it's happening. And it's important to remember where we've come from. And then the first guy to ever to actually do this was Elon Musk in his purchase of X and his liberation there. And then the downstream chain reaction effects that it's having are profound. But most importantly, the consequences of President Trump winning in the 2024 election are incalculable as they are making and changing the world for good. It is like a dark spell. We say it often on this program, like a dark spell has been broken across the globe. And we haven't even gotten started yet, as Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene says. I do think it's particularly interesting that Mark Zuckerberg gets interested in fight culture, UFC culture, himself, like a fighter. Like Klein, have you ever seen Killer Klein? Have you ever seen videos of Mark Zuckerberg? Is he legit? I don't know much about fight culture.
He's a legit hobbyist.
He's a hobbyist.
Yeah, he's interested.
You grapple a little bit, fight a little bit, he's trying. Yeah, okay. Clearly he's getting in shape. Clearly he's gotten in shape. Yeah, okay.
A couple times a week, he's on the mat.
Okay. Which is cool. All right. Okay. Killer Klein has a black belt in jiu-jitsu? Black belt? Purple belt in jiu-jitsu? Okay. All right. Killer Klein is a jiu-jitsu instructor, actually. Undefeated kickboxer. That's right. Hey, baby. We may have another kickboxer on our program very soon. Yeah, we're looking forward to announcing the Andrew Tate interview. It's going to be fun. Andrew Tate might be the Prime Minister of England, so that'll be exciting. Stay tuned for that one. Maybe we'll ask him about Zuckerberg and whether maybe he'll fight. Maybe the Zuckerberg-Elon fight will continue. We don't know. We're not sure. Here's what I do know: that fight culture is masculine culture. That getting in control of your body and getting into control of your metabolism and owning your own health is the number one step forward in actually owning your life and not having somebody else control you. It's very good to be healthy. The MAHA movement delivered the White House to President Trump. There are tens of millions of Americans who are sick of being poisoned and who are sick of living unhealthy lives because of the corporate greed that actually is set out to kill us, kill our environment, and quite frankly, kill the American dream. And so, ladies and gentlemen, 2025 is a important time to lock in for your health. I do that with Lumen. Lumen. This is cool little, I need to bring it into the studio. It's a great little device, about this size, okay? About this size, like the size of a little car fob. I breathe into it every morning, and it's like a metabolic coach for me. This device helps measure your metabolism through your breath and the app, and it can see where you're burning fats, carbs, gives you tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and stress management. We have a problem with that. It sucks. There's like news all the time, and it's our job to make sure that we're always on. And so we figured out a way to do it where we can still get some sleep, all right, and still live happy, healthy lives. Lumen helps us do that, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and the Lumen tells you about your metabolism, whether you're burning fats and carbs, and then it gives you a personalized nutrition plan throughout the day. It's really helped me get back on track over our sort of like time of recharging here in the Christmas season. You should take the next step in improving your health. Go to lumen.me/Benny. That's lumen.me/Benny. Get 20% off your Lumen, lumen.me/Benny for 20% off. Thank you to Lumen for sponsoring this episode. And these statements are products have not been evaluated by Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure, or prevent any disease or condition. It's just meant to help you get healthier. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very healthy and happy country, and there are W's all around. We are kind of fascinated that Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, I guess we shouldn't have been, went so hard at Nancy Pelosi. This is a photo of Nancy Pelosi from yesterday. Looking rough, man. It is a nursing home. And it's time for people to like clear out DC. Like it really is like a generational moment when we should ask for better and should break out of sort of the shackles of this idea that we can't rename the Gulf of Mexico. We actually have a photo of the renamed Gulf of Mexico. I don't know, Klein, you still got that? Like it looks, it's so freaking beautiful. The Gulf of America is actually what we should name it. MTG already writing the legislation on that. That's amazing. Look at that. Now's the time. Now's the time. If not now, when? If not us, who? The Gulf of America. With a laughing Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, like out with the old, in with the new. Okay? The great new American century. What did you think when Donald Trump says you're going to see greatness beyond anything you've ever seen? Like, what did you think he was talking about there exactly? What exactly did you think? Here we go. This one, Klein. Let's pop that up. This is good. This is very good. Oh man, look at that. This is what Manifest Destiny actually looks like. There you go. Northern Colonies, Greenland Protectorate, Trump Tower, the Great American Empire. Oh yeah, baby. I'd say add Cuba in there. Why not? Right? Like what a mess that place. It's an exciting time, and it's going to be good to stay nimble and stay on your feet. Something that Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi can't. We will sing great hymns of rejoicing when that new era of political leadership that is so calcified and destroyed this nation. I mean, that's the leadership. The Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell leadership is what got us $37 trillion in debt. It's what we're going to have to save ourselves from, is those wretched people, okay? And so now it is time. It is time to get them out of Washington, D.C. People inside of the Joe Biden regime are fleeing Washington at such a fast rate, it's hard to even keep up with them. Controversial DOJ official Jay Bratt resigns ahead of Trump takeover. Oh yeah, baby. Senior Department of Justice prosecutor Jay Bratt, who accused of ethical misconduct in the documents case against Donald Trump, has reportedly resigned in advance to the start of the new administration. Bratt's described by journalist Michael Isikoff as a key figure of publication of the Russia collusion hoax, with deep sources in the DOJ and having resigned before Trump could retaliate against him. The resignation of Jay Bratt, a career lawyer who served as the chief counterintelligence and export control section inside of the National Security Division before being detailed onto Smith's staff, has not been publicly announced by the department, but 3 sources familiar with the move describe the significant and even chilling event previewing the potential exodus of seasoned government lawyers and FBI agents who fear the wrath of Pam Bondi, oh yeah, baby, and the wrath of Kash Patel. By the way, can I see the comment section filled with new Kash Patel emojis? Can we get a photo of that, please, and pop it up on the screen while we do our verse of the day? So grab that, please. Got the new Kash Patel emoji. We'll do a Pam Bondi emoji. We'll do full emojis for all of our favorite Trump administration cabinets and appointees. Many of them you see and find on this program. Excited to join you every single day. We are excited every single day. Our verse of the day comes from the book of Ezekiel. Great freaking muscular Old Testament stuff here. I will give them an undivided heart and put a new spirit in them. I will remove from them their heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 11:19. Oh yeah, baby. This is a fantastic verse. I am no scholar, but it's wonderful to hear a verse about a nation having a divided heart, a heart that turns into stone, and having God change that heart, and all of us beating with one great American heart, one flesh. Our blood is red, our nation is red, and our future, ladies and gentlemen, will be America first. It's wonderful. God's promise to us, as long as good men and women stand up in this country, it will be saved. And that promise was fulfilled, certainly this year. The new Kash Patel emoji and the new Alina Habba emoji are live. Look at them go. We'll be adding more. We'll be adding more to this. Let's get a Melania emoji in there and a Pam Bondi emoji. This is maybe a Barron Trump. Come on, like how about an Emperor Barron Trump emoji? How about that? Yeah, okay. Spice it up, ladies and gentlemen. In the new year, become a member. You can get custom emojis if you become a member. This is available on our YouTube chat stream. And if you become a member, then you can use these custom emojis along with many other great benefits to that. Head on over to BennyJohnson.com to become a member of the Brigade, the Benny Brigade, and the fastest growing news stream in the world. This is how we save the country, and it's also how we build out for the next generation news consumption in a world where the shackles are being lifted from all of us. It is more important than ever to have creators that you trust, and we're able to fight through all of the censorship. We're able to deliver in this very moment, and we view it as the single greatest privilege of our lives to do that for you, and we will always be there for you. We will not let you down. We have brand new maps to show you right here. The sweet Gulf of America. Are you excited for this? The sweet Gulf of America should have never been named the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of America, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it shall henceforth and forthwith be known on every American map. You heard Marjorie Taylor Greene say that she's going to name it. Freaking awesome. What a timeline we're living in. It is glorious to be fighting with you. And it's our honor to fight with you every single day. What a fun and wild time. You'll catch all of the news here on this program. Like, share, and subscribe. Join our family and march with us. You will not lose when you're with an army of happy warriors. And that's what we are on this program. You can't defeat an army of happy warriors. Just check the chat if you're wondering how joyful the warriors are on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, we will win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Purpose here is simple. To strengthen what is weak. Make hard what is soft. Where mind is master of the body, you will be warrior once more.
I like my suitcase. I like my suitcase.
Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
Looks like we are getting a McDonald's.
Where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.